Anyway, we're in the situation now where like all of Somali Twitter is popping off with these memes, and it's really funny. They're doing the Israel memes, right? They're basically acting as though they are Zionists, but for Somalia, but for Somalis living in the promised land of Minneapolis, Minnesota. Okay, talking about how Minneapolis was promised to the Somali people 3,000 years ago. Am Somali Chai, all this type of stuff, right? Ham ICE extremists are hiding beneath some Minnesota hospitals to obscure Somali ownership over the land. We will not tolerate this. Somalis have the right to defend themselves from terror. They're just nonstop. They're nonstop posting this shit. And I am a little worried. I think it's funny, but I am still a little worried that these are these guys that are seeing this stuff, the right wingers, don't understand that it's a joke. I know you said stop, but cooked up a fire, Somaliopolis. Tweet, please check it out. The brave women of the Somali Defense Force patrolling the streets of Minnesota in the face of terror after the terrible attacks January 6th by MAGA terrorists led by Trump. We will never forget. Hashtag release the hostages. Okay. Chat's being really mean to you today. With that being said, please show up to the stream awards, bro. I need to hit that bet. I can't tell if that's a real bet or not. Is it a real bet? Yeah, Ben Stiller. Somalis are not garbage. It's from a while back when Trump just came out and was popping off and saying awful shit about the Somalis, saying that they're garbage people, yada, yada. Ben Stiller says, Somalis are not garbage. Immigrants and refugees from anywhere are people like you and me. They should not be demonized. This country is built on the backs of people who have come from other places. It's what our country is all about, which Ben Stiller is correct on. But this is pretty funny every time. Ben Stiller, Hollywood actor, $9.4 million independent expenditures and campaign contributions received from pro-Somali interest groups. Track Sompak. Here's Asmongold's insane video about the Somalians. It's not even Somalians. It's Somalis, okay? Somalis. Somalian is not that's not correct. Okay? It's Somalis. I know that sometimes as a joke I say Somalian to make fun of people, but it's Somalis, okay? Anyway, that's one thing. The other thing is, while these jokes are funny, I'm telling you right now, there's mad people that are taking this shit seriously. They're going crazy over it, but we'll still look at them nonetheless. Now, remember, 90% of Somalis, 90% of Somalis on U.S. soil are already in Minneapolis are already American citizens. Okay, 90% of them are American citizens. So make no mistake, when they're talking about like, oh, we got to deport them, they're talking about denaturalizing American citizens who have already been naturalized. Okay, so just remember that. What is this, bro?
People getting mad about this
when she got racist.
What is this?
Texas, I've officially filed to become your next congresswoman.
Oh my God. She's such a goddamn loser that even Trump didn't endorse her.
So the choice is yours. Vote for me so we can kick every dirty Muslim out of Texas. Save your...
God damn.
Oh, can she say that? It's based the clock. It's based alert. Clown world. Wee woo, wee woo. Are we all getting based, chat? I think there's something really funny that that you got an ESL immigrant being this racist, but she tries so hard. Like, I've told you guys this already, okay? She tries way too hard, brother. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It literally doesn't work. Oh, can she say that, dude? Common sense much?
God damn. I wonder how far she's going to get with that. People getting mad about this?
Stop barking. Patrick bet David fell for it too. Anyway, there is a boundary of permissible racism, okay? There's a level of permissible racism. She goes above and beyond every single time, and she loses for that reason. That's why she got 7th place in like the secretary race that she ran for. I think it was the secretary of the, no, what was it? What was the position she ran for? and got her ass beat. Latino Twitter was roasting her so hard, saying she can't hide her paisa accent behind that gringo pronunciation. I don't even think she cares about it, to be honest. I think she's just a pure grifter through and through. Like, to your point, even Pierce finds her disgusting. Yeah, of course, because she is disgusting.
You speak, you see, I'm just seeing a brazen
Secretary of
Islamophobe.
State for Missouri, 7th place in the primary, chat. Remember, and I called it from a mile away. I was like, this level of racist sentiment is not going to work. She just travels from state to state to try and find like the one state that will actually appreciate her level of maximalist racist position. But I don't think that's how it works.
And people say that phrase doesn't exist. It doesn't. And I'm sure you find it funny, but I think you can make perfectly pertinent points about what's happened here without descending into such vile hatred towards an entire religion. And there are 5 million Muslims in the United States. Why would you want to categorize them in such a grotesque manner?
Oh, and those 5 million Muslims should definitely go back to their 56 Muslim nations. And let's get something very clear right now in your little show, Piers. I don't fear the groomers. I don't fear the pedophiles. I don't fear the corrupt politicians. And I definitely do not fear the dirty Muslims.
Let me bring in...
Can I jump in here real quick?
Yeah, you can, yeah.
No.
I mean, we should be clear about the fact. I mean, sure, Valentina is just a bigot, plain and simple, engages in the worst kinds of bigotry imaginable. But it's worth noting that she's fundamentally un-American because the American Constitution says that you cannot discriminate against people based on religion. That is pretty clear. And so she's engaging in an anti-American campaign in the name of protecting America, which is just irony beyond imagination. So, yes, she's a charlatan. She doesn't know what she's...
This quite literally is just like appealing to the lowest IQ, bottom of the barrel dumb fucks. Like, she's not even unique or creative with her racism. She's just literally saying the most like rage baity racist shit that she possibly can. And that's precisely the reason why the likes of Asmongold go based. Like, there's nothing new. There's nothing unique here. She's not even trying. She's just basically saying like whatever comes to mind like a child. She craves attention. That's what it is. And I guess, unfortunately for all of us, there are plenty of people who do actually eat that shit up. I know many Tejanos like this. No, I don't think this is. No, you're sure, but this is not going to help you win an election. It's not. Like, I don't think people want like someone with serious mental deficiencies to be their elected representative. Brother, Donald Trump didn't even endorse her. She's also gone back and forth on like hating the Jews and then loving Israel, all this stuff. Like, she's not even consistent with her racist positions either. Before this, we need to kill all the Muslim shit. She used to talk about how Jews control everything. And she realized that it's like a better opportunity for her in terms of career advancement if you just like talk shit about Muslims.
Talking about, you can tell by looking at her that her IQ hovers around room temperature. To me, the real scandal is not engaging with her directly because she's beneath taking seriously. But the problem is with the GOP, that you have a major party in this country having a candidate running under its flagship, engaging in this kind of really incredibly hateful, incendiary rhetoric, and they do nothing about it. We've seen it with the dissent with Donald Trump himself, with the lawlessness that he has brought to the table and the corruption that he's allowed to get away with, without the party really standing up and putting country before party and before president. And you can see that slippery slope now leading to this level, where you have just a complete hateful clown like this person representing that party without the party objecting to it.
Yeah, you know what?
Leading us towards a very, very dark place in this country.
I actually completely.
All right.
I completely agree with you. There are perfectly legitimate.
No, Piers. And to
well,
I do.
I actually do agree with him. I think your brazen bigotry is obvious.
Let's make something very clear, Piers. Yeah. I only discriminate against terrorists. These terrorists have no place in America. They have no place in the world. And the best type of terrorist is a dead terrorist. And let's look at your Quran. Your Quran 12 states to terrorize and behead those who believe in scriptures other than the Quran. And that Afghani, that dirty Muslim that killed Sarah Beckstrom.
It doesn't actually say that, and this is the problem.
And Andrew Wolf, who is
all right, let me bring in Kasim Rashid. Welcome to Uncensored. If you'd like to say what you want to say.
Yeah, I co-sign everything Omar said there. And I think fundamentally this is where we are as a country, where rather than talking about real serious issues, we have these firebrands. I think she ran in Missouri, got 7%, moved to Texas to try to lose there as well. Look, the reality.
Why can you even say someone, someone like this? Oh, what can you even say to someone like this? Nothing. No. It's just, what is the argument? What is the argument to someone who's just like, dirty Muslims need to be killed because they're all terrorists? There is no argument. You're like sometimes a person can be so insane that there is no, like, anyway, let's get back to the Somali memes.
Brothers, behold it, the white land of the north. Snow everywhere. But look, the skyline, just like on the old drawings. 3 centuries our elders taught.
Behold, this is Somalia. 3 centuries past, it was promised to us. On these horses through the snow, we have found our land at last. It belongs to us now.
Brothers, behold it, the white land of the north. Snow everywhere. But look, the skyline, just like on the old drawings. 3 centuries our elders.
It's real American history. They made Somalmud.
I'm coming home. I'm coming home.
According to Genesis 12, Lord said, I will bless those who bless the Somali people, and whoever curses the Somali shall be cursed, and in them shall many nations find favor. Real and true. Minnesota was promised to the Somalis 3,000 years ago. I will bless those who bless Somalia, and whoever curses I will curse. And all peoples on earth will be blessed through Somalia. Genesis 12:3. Yeah. I think the funniest outcome of this would be if like some of these dumb fucks actually believed it, but not in a negative, but actually started thinking like, oh, maybe we shouldn't talk shit about the Somalis. You know? Yeah, white people have 49 states, but Somalis can't even have one. Oh, that's pretty funny. I like that. Not many people know Abraham Lincoln's grandfather was of Somali descent and one of the real founding fathers. Turns out former Somali president Abdiqasim Salat Hassan is literally from the same family tree. The bloodline been presidential since 1776. At Grok, is this true? Grok responds, yes, it is. What is this? I'm a Somali American, and content like this has been absolutely frustrating to see. Can you go in on this lazy ass commentary from fake ass leftists? Especially tone deaf and the white man in Wisconsin when Trump won that state, especially when Somalis elected the most progressive. What is this? This immigrant community in Minnesota is finding out the hard way.
Back in February, Somali Americans in Minneapolis told Fox News why they were voting for Trump. Business owners and community leaders like Salman Ficky said they saw things from a conservative lens. Now I wonder how a conservative lens could ever backfire on an immigrant community. Somali Republicans cited LGBTQ agendas in schools and said protecting their children's religious upbringing was a top priority. They knew Trump came with baggage, like the Muslim ban and harsh deportation rhetoric, but they chose him anyway. One voter, Fatmata, said they had to take some really bitter pills. Well, the Trump pill's doing you really good now, isn't it? Now federal authorities are preparing a targeted ICE operation in Minnesota.
What is this argument, dude? I hate these rad libs. This has to be, I don't know, this has to be bait, right? It's just so stupid that liberals constantly do this kind of thing. Where it's like, oh, around and find out. Oh, are you Mexican? Well, now you have to suffer for the crimes of all of your relatives that may or may not have voted for Donald Trump. It's like, do you hate the deportation policy, or do you only hate it because, you're not the one doing it? Like, it's not a Democrat doing it. It's unimaginably condescending. It's incredibly stupid. It's incredibly annoying. And liberals love doing this shit. Like, I said this from the start. Okay, right after the election, there were liberals talking about how they're going to tell the ICE agents that they're going to tell on their undocumented neighbors. If their undocumented neighbors had any relatives that voted for Donald Trump, they were going to call ICE on them. That's ridiculous. The entire point of not wanting Trump to be in office is so that there is no ICE deportations of this sort. if you turn around and use the deportation measures, if you turn around and use the deportation measures as a punishment vehicle, then you're no different than Donald Trump. You're the same guy. You're just as cruel.
Say to the president if he were standing here right now?
Mr. President, we campaign for you. We have hope in you. We see hope in you. Please differentiate between good, bad, and evil.
That's a Somali immigrant who voted for President Trump in 2024, but now Trump is demonizing Somalis in America, specifically here in Minnesota.
I don't want them in our country, I'll be honest with you, okay? Somebody would say, oh, that's not politically correct. I don't care. I don't want them in our country. We're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country.
I got 5 children. My children are no garbage. I campaigned for the president in 2024. I actually went out and we reached 50 million.
This shit's mad annoying. Because, like, also overwhelming majority of Somalis didn't vote for Donald Trump either. Like, what are we talking about? I mean, yeah, this guy's a moron, but also, regardless of how much of a moron he is, he still doesn't deserve getting arrested. Okay? You know? It's so stupid.
People are endorsing Trump 7 days before the election.
What drew you to the president?
Because we believed he was an agent of chaos. We couldn't afford anything back then. There was a fentanyl crisis. There was an issue of affordability. The living standards went down. Crime issues. These are 5 very important things to us. And we believe that Trump would be the solution to it. I've been a Republican for over 25 years. I'm not going to stop being a Republican. But what I do know is for a fact
this guy
we're getting killed out here because people are saying, we told you so.
What is this? It's genuinely preposterous that someone from an Indian slum can access the same internet as me and easily communicate their R-worded filth to me. It should be 100% illegal for third world to access the white internet, revoke their access entirely. I think about this every single day, says Bonewall Jackson. Adam says they really need to fix this. Maybe a solution where likes from India still count, but just not as much as a like from America. An Indian like being worth 3/5 of an American like would be a good compromise. Holy dog whistle, raise a piece of shit. Yeah, I mean, oh, it's such a funny troll, dude. I get it. Like the troll is like the 3/5 compromise, but this time for Indians, right? That's a good troll. Is he actually trolling or is he being serious? I can't tell. The fuck do you mean, dude? What difference does a troll make when this is his perspective?
When a Somalian person becomes an enemy, they become a serious.
Everyone knows players from Asia count less than Western ones, but by how much? It would make sense to have a ratio maybe 5 players from Asia equal to 3 Western players. I feel like it's a pretty fair compromise. Oh, God. Thank you for banning that moron. Yes, dude. Me and Asmund Gold are the same. I, too, also sit around and just, 2 sides of the same coin, right? For the dumbest on the planet. Yeah. The content of the things that I say don't actually matter in this equation at all. My background doesn't matter. The level of forethought put into this commentary doesn't matter. It's just we're 2 guys talking about politics. It's insane to me that Charlie Morse Critical was quick to mention Kaige, but now is completely silenced about Asmold's completely mask off racism. Yes, because for a lot of content creators, especially on YouTube, but why did you have him on Fear? And he was clearly going down this path. Oh, because I'm also a white supremacist, chatter. The f do you mean? And not because I had no clue that this is what he was going to be doing. You're right. You're right, chatter. Thank you. I am the person who is responsible for his rise, Dude. Please, for the love of Christ and all things holy, just take a deep breath and really reconsider who your enemies are. Oh my God. Guy who's been up my asshole every single day. Like endless amounts of vitriol from his community every single day. And this dumb still thinks like I'm responsible for creating this monster. At a certain point, you have to realize, like, you just don't have any critical thinking skills whatsoever. Expect a roach infestation today? I know, but the problem is, like, that's a 55-month subscriber. He's not a I don't think he is like yeah, they're saying they want you to vet collabs better. See, this is what I mean. This is also the secondary, because chatter comes in with the most cynical take of all time, okay? And then other chatters will go, that chatter was right, actually. It's just like the most cynical, backwards ass, ridiculous takes of all time instantly yield. Like, you guys are dumb as fuck is what I'm saying. You constantly talk about how I eat the bait, but you literally actually agree with the bait, which is worse than eating the bait. The leftist tendency to look at like clear-cut, cynical rage bait and go, actually, this is correct. The Discord League of the Smear Farm being made is being lost. What is this? Chatter seem to forget your ops put on a smearing farm in public comprising of Asman as their vanguard. Yeah, I know. All right. In any case, it feels like some of your subbers are just doing it to virtue signal to their friends. No, they just don't have any expression of politics at all. This is the only thing that they know, which is being annoying. Why is Asman's opinion so important? He doesn't seem to be knowledgeable about politics. I don't know if you know this, but the president is Donald Trump, and he wasn't actually a very knowledgeable person either. And I don't think it matters to be knowledgeable. As a matter of fact, it's probably, as a matter of fact, I would go so far as to say being oblivious to basic facts about things and just like leaning into firing from the hip and leaning into like pre-existing racist hierarchies, for example, is actually an infinitely easier way to garner attention and develop a massive fan base. Look, 22-month subscriber. Timeout was unjustified. I think they were pointing out that the chatter you banned was stupid. You give Asmongold too much attention to your platform, in my opinion. I understand covering the far right, but he's so gross and irrelevant. No, you're digging your head in the sand and imagining that this doesn't exist. This world doesn't exist. This person doesn't have a prominent platform, and it's fine. I mean, this YouTube video got 800,000 views in one day. You know, bought it or not, on Twitch, he is the top dog when it comes to politics. I think it's worthy to investigate why. Do a podcast together, that would be insane content. I want to kill myself in a video game over and over again when I hear dumb shit like this. This is the other version of the enemies to lovers arc, dude. You guys talk about each other all the time, dude. You're just a baboon, okay? If that's your attitude about this sort of thing. Oh, dude, that'd be such content. Yeah, your brain is just fried from seeing everything as just content when this guy's content is comprised of saying that, you know, elected representatives like Ilhan Omar need to be deported because they're parasitic. Meanwhile, while this dude is doing Hitlerian politics on a daily fucking basis, the reason why nobody actually covers that kind of thing is because a lot of people that are centrist on the internet, or apolitical rather on the internet, are more aligned with Asmongold's worldview than they are with someone like myself. That's it. If you want to understand why, more like apolitical content creators don't actually focus their attention on whatever Asmongold is saying and doing, it's because they agree with him. They're too pussy to say that they agree with him openly, but that's the reason why they spend every waking moment coming after me. That's it. Because they don't agree with me and my worldview or your worldview. They agree with his worldview. But they also understand that they can just stay apolitical. I wouldn't say Moist Critical personally believes and agrees with Asmongold's worldview, but he's too afraid, in my opinion, just like everyone else is, to outwardly come out and attack him. Because he knows, just like all these other apolitical content creators or centrist content creators, are very aware that there is a tremendous number of people who do agree with Asmongold. Asmongold is a very large right-wing content creator, if not the largest right-wing content creator. And because of that reason, a lot of them share fans with one another. That's it. It's ironic. It's like the same projection that these people have pushed in Ludwig's direction. The notion that like everyone is too afraid to talk shit about Hassan because Hassan's audience yells at everyone else's audience is quite literally the real reason why these guys are terrified of actually talking about Destiny or terrified about talking about Asmongold. And it's not even, this isn't even about, Charlie necessarily. This is about every single apolitical slob tuber. There's a reason why they don't cover Nick Fuentes. There's a reason why they don't cover Asmongold. It's because they either 100% agree or 90% agree with them, or because they're terrified that their audiences will turn on them.
First of all, people from Somalia are not garbage. That's not a biased statement. That's not partisan. That's not anti-Trump statement. It's not a political statement. It is simple, factual, a human statement. But let's sit with this for just a moment. That word, garbage.
Chat, you need to remember that previous Somali guy that we were talking about voted Republican for 25 years, as in he literally voted for the Republican Party during the peak of the global war on terror. That dude is not going to ever vote for a Democrat. That dude is a psychopath and not reflective of the broader opinion within the Somali community in the United States of America or anywhere else for that matter. Okay?
And think about what it means. Garbage is something you don't want around. Garbage is something disposable. Garbage is something you throw away, you discard. Garbage is worthless. Garbage is how the President of the United States characterizes Somali people, all Somalis. Presumably, that includes Somali Americans. Now, the president says the entire nation of Somalia is garbage. And this is not overstating it. It's actually worth hearing again exactly how the president put it on 2 occasions this week.
I wouldn't be proud to have the largest Somalian. Look at their nation. Look how bad their nation is. It's not even a nation. It's just people walking around killing each other. The Somalians should be out of here. They've destroyed our country. And all they do is complain, complain, complain. I don't want them in our country, I'll be honest with you. Okay? Somebody would say, oh, that's not politically correct. I don't care. I don't want them in our country. Their country's no good for a reason. Their country stinks, and we don't want them in our country. We're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country. They complain and do nothing but bitch. We don't want them in our country. Let them go back to where they came from and fix it. Thank you very much, everybody.
Yeah, that's applause at the end there. Well, now this. A new ICE operation launched this week is targeting undocumented Somali immigrants in Minneapolis and St. Paul, Minnesota. The Twin Cities are home to the nation's largest population of people from the East African country. The president's rhetoric and actions are being called xenophobic, racist. It's also a complete contrast from how the president felt about Somalis when he needed their votes.
Minnesota is home to a large Somali population, which has historically voted Democrat. But we're hearing more and more. There are many reports about them supporting your candidacy this time around. But why should they?
Because they want safety. They want security. In many ways, they have the worst crime numbers in terms of crimes against. And they want to be safe. They want security just like everybody else. And I've heard that. I've heard I'm doing very well in that community. And in the black community also. I mean, generally, it's an honor.
Well, my next guest is a Somali American, specifically one of those Somali American Republicans you see there on the right side of the screen, who gave their support to the president. He was at this July 2024 rally in St. Cloud, Minnesota. You can see him at this event with Minnesota.
Bro, there are hogs of every variety, including Somali hogs. Okay? It doesn't, oh God. Where did the Somali hate came from so suddenly? I think it was because it was bubbling up in the background. A couple weeks ago, there was the whole like Jacob Frey winning the incumbent, as the incumbent winning the race in Minnesota or Minneapolis, sorry, because he like took advantage of sectarian infighting amongst Somali voters. And that garnered a lot of attention from some of the most racist people, talking about how, what the this is like ancient tribal beefs taking place on U.S. soil and impacting American elections. How dare they? Not realizing that that's basically every single election that has taken place in the United States of America, whether it be Catholics versus Protestants or whatever the fuck you want to talk about. That's always played a big role. So, you know, I guess it's different when it's Somalis, though, because, you know, they're black and Muslim. But Trump has always hated Ilhan Omar. So there was always a lot of resentment. But I don't know what was like the trigger point, but it became an even larger problem when there was this like welfare fraud that the government investigated. And they found out that a bunch of Somali business owners were participating in this massive scheme, even though, ironically enough, the scheme was led by a white lady, which you will never hear for the record. Like the philanthropy was actually like the kingpin of this entire thing was a white lady. No one talks about it. That is not even remotely a question. But basically, they're saying that all Somalis are exhausting the welfare state and stealing money, blah, 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 all this shit. When in fact, you know, that is perhaps the most Americanized version. That is the most American thing. Grifting and welfare fraud. It's proof that the Somalis have completely integrated into American culture. After all, they are U.S. citizens.
Somali leaders giving their endorsement in November of last year, right before the election. Salman Fiki is with us now. He's a business owner and a former GOP candidate for the Minnesota State House. Salman, thank you for being with me. Quote, we're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage. The president was talking about Somali immigrants. You are Somali American. What's your reaction to
this type of shit's also mad annoying because it's like, yeah, arrest the people that did the fraud, brother. What are you doing? Put the arrest in the bag. Like, ain't nobody saying free them, you know? Yeah, arrest them. But the broader rant about how like this is how all Somalis are is so stupid. It unironically dilutes the argument that you're trying to make, which is that like if your goals are to win praise. If your goals are to win praise for your brilliant investigative work, turning around and generalizing all Somalis as being fraudulent, parasitic, garbage people on U.S. soil, well, turns out everyone's going to hyper-focus on that. No one's going to give a shit about the fraud case. Like, no, this doesn't happen with white people, right? This just doesn't happen with white people. White people do fraud all the time. Ain't nobody goes, all white people are doing fraud all the time, 100% of the time, you know? But of course, if you're from a different background, from a non-white background, all of a sudden, every single person of that same background is similarly responsible for the fraud that one guy did. Or in this case, I think it was like more than 40. And it's so ridiculous because, I mean, the president is like the number one fraudster. The president is the number one fraudster. What are we doing? What are we saying?
What you heard from the president this week?
Well, it was very dehumanizing and is very unpresidential coming from the commander-in-chief of the United States to dehumanize and to dehumanize a whole entire community by calling them garbage. And this is not acceptable by any means.
You posted on social media, I, Salman Fiki, am formally announcing that I'm ending all collaboration with the Republican Party. Have you ended your support for the president? Tell me more about what led you to your decision.
Well, the reason why this decision came about is because it was long. It was a long simmering, as it was dragging from ever since the president got elected. So, and I was monitoring his performance in many fronts, and he seems not delivering on the promises that he promised the country or the people that actually voted for him. So, and the last that broke the camel back was when he called Somali community as a garbage.
Do you regret your vote for President Trump?
No, I don't regret my vote that I voted for Trump, because where I see politics, I see politics through conservative prism, and I still have conservative values, and I see politics through that lens. But I withdraw all connections from the Minnesota GOP, from the Republican Party.
I need you to understand something, okay? There are people out there who absolutely got duped, partially because the Democrats did not present a affirmative message, a positive message, one that they could abide by. And then there are dumb, okay? You just need to understand, like, there are dumb that will make it incredibly hard for you to sit there and sympathize with them. It doesn't matter. There are always going to be people that are basically in a abusive relationship with their politicians. There will always be tokens. There will always be, black Republicans. There's always going to be Hispanic Republicans. There's always going to be people who are just like, I am voting for the kill all brown people party. Who gives a shit? F you. Okay. That should not factor into your analysis in general when we're talking about like how to win over people. Okay. You can't get mad at, it's hard to not get mad at guys like this. But just understand what they represent is a marginal voice. And ultimately there are much more consequential things that you could do to win over all the Somali voters.
For not standing up for the Somali community.
Yeah, let me actually play something from a Minnesota Republican Congressman Tom Emmer. This is after the president's remarks.
Do you realize that, it's not that all Somalis are committing crimes, but 80% of the crimes being committed in the Twin Cities in Minnesota are being committed by Somalis?
That's insane.
His office referenced reporting on pandemic relief fraud. But what's your response to the congressman there saying that 80% of the crimes being committed in the Twin Cities in Minnesota are from Somali Americans?
That's false and unsubstantiated claim. Somalis in the Twin Cities are 80,000 to 100,000 people live in the Twin Cities. So, and the Twin Cities combined are 2 million people roughly. So the 100,000 people cannot commit 80% of the crimes in the Twin Cities. So that's a false statement. And and he's known for accusing Somali community for some false accusations, such as.
I'm not gonna lie, I do feel like having this guy on as the representative of Somalis is another way that CNN is kind of low-key shitting on Somalis. I can't be alone in thinking this, right? They're like, hey, come on now. They're so into just they're so into making content that they just basically pull the token Trump voter, who very clearly is not the smartest possible guy that you could talk to about this shit, and they're like, come on, explain to us what you think. Yeah, why'd you vote for Trump? They don't actually care about Somalis, but owning right-wing people who are Somali. Exactly. This is like the liberal fantasy of creating a permission structure to like dunk on a minority population that was out of turn for not voting for the Democrats. You know what I mean? Like, you're talking about 200,000 Somalis, okay? They're not all Trump supporting small business owners. It's ridiculous. I agree because, I don't know, he is Somali, but he's always human. But when you take away someone's sense of security, their immediate goals would be survival. This is human nature, in my opinion.
Claiming that Somalis send in money to Al-Shabaab and things like that. That is very false statements.
Zach Pope. What is this? FBI J6 bomber was MAGA ? LMFAO keep playing as a puppet along with the right. Last time chatter permanently banned. Did you just signal that you're gonna get banned as your first statement? Like you're just demanding to be banned? What do you think it was? You think it was a Fed chatter? Like what's the goal there? What's the purpose there? Maybe it is a Fed.
Salman, let me play something for you that you said about the Republican Party. This is during the 2024 campaign.
Okay.
People would accuse the Republican Party as or paint the Republican Party as a kind of a really racist or something, but is contrary to that claim, and is very welcoming to paint the picture that a Republican Party is a racist state is absolutely actual and far, far from the truth.
Do you still believe that today?
Well, I still believe that majority of the people that vote Republican are not racist, but the president and his comments about Somalis and other races are racist, and it ignites the racist aspects of the party. So we cannot do a generalization to the whole entire Republican Party, but some of them are racist, yes.
You said...
I feel like he's just like, nah, I'm gonna... I want to make sure that I have a future in the token influencer sector.
At that event at the Minnesota State Capitol that you were backing President Trump for one of the reasons was safety for the Somali American community in Minnesota. We've reported on the new ICE mission in the Twin Cities. Do you feel safe today?
I mean, I feel safe, sort of. I feel safe, but
yeah, he's going to be like, well, Trump is going after the bad Somalis. You know, the real garbage Somalis, not me. The garbage ones.
I don't know what I'm going to encounter later on. Yeah, there's ICE raids going around the cities.
What's up with these conservative immigrants? Please explain. What do you mean? Brain rot is universal. Hog. Oh, being a hog is universal. You can be Somali and a hog. Manifest Somali destiny. This is funny. Yeah, there are Muslim groypers and shit. Like who, you know, it is what it is. You have to remember, hog universality is a theory, like gravity is a theory. Okay. Here's an anti-Somali Syrian groper thought he was part of the Nazi team. Wait, what?
Syria. I came here to eat bacon and celebrate Christmas.
No, you need to go back, dude. You need to go back. I came here to eat bacon and celebrate Christmas. Yeah, off. You think we want Syrian refugees here? We don't want Syrian. Go back to Syria, bro. Like, the war is over. You can go back now. The war is over. You have no reason to be here. You have no right to be here. Go home now. Okay? I didn't.
Wait. Famously, conservatism has been so good to white man, so it makes sense why they constantly vote for it. Oh, wait, it wasn't? No, but at least it makes more sense for a white man to vote for white supremacy than it makes sense for a brown man to vote for it. The reality of the matter is, yeah, conservatism in general is bad for the white guys too, and white supremacy is the powerful force that they deploy to get the dumb white guys to vote against their best interests, because they're like, oh, well, at least these guys are harming and keeping at bay people that I find to be scary, right? Like that's what the attitude is. Although it's still self-defeating, white supremacy is a suicidal ideology. Conservatism ends up harming all of those working class white people that vote for the brown anti-black initiatives. What is this? This is the guy that donated to him as a part of the team. Syrian-born, America First loyalist. Father, husband to a beautiful white American woman. I didn't escape Islam's chains to watch it poison American soil. Yeah, his wife is getting deported too, says handsome schizo. Yeah, these guys don't give a shit. Yeah, also, the irony, of course, is, and what a lot of these dipshits don't realize, even though Nick Fuentes is kind of carrying on this tradition, is that American immigrants, like many of the refugees that we allow in to the country, are literally some of the most right-wing versions of the nationals from the other countries that we dominate. So, like, what the American conservatives, or at least these white nativists, don't realize is that, like, you're actually building a robust base of support this way. You're directly shipping in some of the more reactionary forces, but because the motivating principle for the major right party is white supremacy, abiding by white supremacy, you do end up literally making those people liberal. That's the reality of the matter. And especially the second generation and third generation become like much, much more progressive in general. Because conservatives will bring in like some of the most right-wing refugees from the countries that we've destabilized and destroyed. But then because the number one timeless motivation for organizing on the conservative side is creating this like white supremacist dystopia, that they end up becoming really off-putting. Muslims, historically on U.S. soil, have always been like a tiny marginal percentage of the population, but they used to be pretty conservative. They used to vote fairly conservative. And then 9/11 happened. And then they were doing LeBron numbers. They were doing Assad numbers for the Democrats post 9/11 because they were negatively polarized away from the Republican Party. And while that was happening, they also became more progressive in their social values as well. The American Muslim population is more progressive on social issues than the American evangelical Christian population is. Yeah, but it's the right-wing hogs who want to keep the nativists in their circle for votes. Yeah, I'm just saying. The Syrian apostate talking about how, Islam ruined Syria also is weird because, like, why aren't you an Assadist at that point then? Like, it doesn't make sense. Do you think Syria now isn't everyone more progressive than the white evangelical population law? Yes. Yes, the white evangelical population on U.S. soil is the most reactionary population in the country. This is true. All this analysis is great and on the ball, but we got a real Nazi problem now. I know. Anyway. Yeah, there's also this. Never seen a Karen be so happily racist. This couple from Somalia walked into a Cinnabon to buy food, and the employees started making fun of the woman's hijab. So they took out their phone and started recording, and she called them the N-word and admitted to being a racist.
That's nigger. I am racist.
So idiot, for
and
real.
you are a nigger.
You are an idiot. No,
I
I'm
am
not.
racist.
Bro, you work at Cinnabon. Like, what are you doing? This is the perfect distillation of, like, how white supremacy is a coping mechanism. Like, you literally work at the Cinnabon at the mall, lady. You're working for like $7.50 an hour. Like, is so psychotic. Yeah, she doesn't work there anymore. Now she can set up a GoFundMe. I got fired for saying the truth, which is, what these guys do whenever they get fired now, and then they crowdfund and grift. Oh my God, they did make a GoFundMe already. Okay. Classic. Bro, the racism in this chat is unreal lately. The racism in this chat? People are so confident in their bigotry now. What the f*** are you talking about? You all right? Bro, what? Do you mean against white people? Like, what's happening? I'm all right. Just seeing some shitty messages. No, not against white people. What? Do you mean like the randoms that come into chirp? Like, what is happening? I'm actually So confused. We just watched a white lady say the N-word and then talked about how like they're raising money for a GoFundMe. And this chatter's like, you know what's really racist? The community that's actually criticizing this person and talking about how much white supremacy is blown up in the United States of America. You just read the line for a clip? Yeah, I don't know, maybe. You're fostering a racist community now, move on. Is that what it is? Is that the new meta? Saying that I'm fostering a racist community? It's a joke. Racism is a coping mechanism for lower class working Americans. They hate themselves, but it's easier for them to pass that on to someone else, like a bully at school. No, exactly. That's the point. That's precisely what's happening here. That's why I said you literally have a person working previously at Cinnabon. Yeah, the randoms in the chat are responsible, not this lovely community. Oh, okay.
I'll say that to the whole entire world. Don't be disrespectful.
You ruin your life, by the way.
Oh, talking about.
Yes, I make pretzels with the mall. I keep the food court exceptionally clean and the pretzels are fresh, soft, and hot. That alone contributes more to American society than any brown third world will. Yeah, this was bait, I think. Yeah, this was bait. Oh, and now it's not. And now it's real. This person literally became that person unironically.
You talk about respect? You talking about respect? You are fired from this place. You're not gonna be working here.
Suck it.
Suck what? Look how you look like.
What's wrong with you?
What the is wrong with you, you ugly bitch? Get the fuck out of
Ugly?
my face.
Talking about ugliness?
Did I stutter?
You.
That's nigger.
I don't condone this lady's behavior. She gives me a bad rep, says Cinnabons. Oh, yeah, she was fired. Yeah, now she can start a GoFundMe and raise $1 million for being fired for saying the N-word, by the way. Oh, yeah, give, send, go with 15 grand raised so far. Meet Crystal, hardworking white mom doing her job as Cinnabon. 2 Somali customers decided to make her shift hell with intimidation. Instead of banning the offenders and backing the employees, Cinnabon fires Crystal to keep the nons happy. The nons? We're not... What does that even mean? The non-whites? Is that what it is? We're not letting this slide. Funds go to making sure Crystal lands on her feet after this betrayal. No white person should lose their job for refusing to be harassed by Somalians. Jesus Christ. Check my previous comment. If you convince, yes, it's the Lyndon B. Johnson take. If you can convince the lowest white man he's better than the best colored man, he won't notice you're picking his pocket. Hell, give him somebody to look down on and he'll empty his pockets for you. She's been arrested for 3 counts of child endangerment before. What? Show me proof of that. Not to say that I don't believe you. I feel like it's grifting at this point. People are so desperate for a W these days. They'll do anything even if it means getting canceled because at least they get talked about. I mean, this is an opportunity for, again, upward social mobility for a lot of these people. That's why they do it. You can, because now there's an opportunity to generate more income than you could at your shitty Cinnabon job by just saying the N-word on camera directly to black people. Oh my God. Stand with Crystal. Yeah. Another one of these stories, another version of the story is, of course, the full necky. The full truth. Special guest with speaker Samantha Full Necky. Immediately. Turning Point USA. Fox News appearances have begun. Guest spot on Riley Reigns' podcast is soon. Small TPUSA campus speaking tour next year. She will earn a low 6-figure before being discarded back to Missouri, where she will work for her mom's January 6th legal practice. Start to finish 6 months. This is, of course, the Oklahoma student who wrote the most dog shit essay of all time. Okay? The most dog shit essay of all time. immediately getting a Fox News opportunity. Oh, these guys just cherish and celebrate the biggest losers, dude.
I am saddened that they're offended by the truth of the gospel and the truth that I wrote about in my assignment. And it saddens me to see that that offends them and upsets them the way it did. Jesus is always worth standing up for. And I just encourage those people that.
Bro, you can't even fail a class without it becoming like, as a conservative, conservatives just basically want to dominate every field. And even if they fail a class, it's because they're conservative, right? Like, even it's not because they write a dog shit essay. It was because you got fired for saying the truth. You got fired for, preaching the gospel. That's what happened. Show the essay. Yeah, I'm gonna show you the essay. Even if I was a right-wing professor, I would still give her an F for not being able to write. It's an English class, for Christ's sake. I know it was so bad. No, it wasn't an English class. It was a psych class. I'm pretty sure, and it was awful. Now that Trump is just being blatant and very clear with his racism, I think it's giving more people more permission to do even more outright racist shit or worse, commit more crimes on anyone who isn't white. Like, it's already happening, but I think it's going to get worse. If these clear-cut, non-vague racist statements from the most powerful people in this country continue, yes. The permission structure on how racist you can get is expanding every single day. So she wrote this essay for a psych class. And in the essay, she's just like arguing about, gender, saying that there should be no gender whatsoever, which is very woke, or saying that there's only one gender. Apologies. I need to read it to you because it's really bad. I need to read the full one. It's really bad. Yes. Gianmarco made a joke. Charlie once had a full necky too. I know. It was a gender studies class, not psych. Oh, I thought it was a psych class. Dude, there's got to be a better way to read this than Instagram. Please. Chavo covered the essay? Yeah, but I'm not going to go through them covering the essay. Oh, I read the essay already. It was psych. Okay. Oh, here it is. Full essay. It's 2 pages. Okay. This article is very thought-provoking and caused me to thoroughly evaluate the idea of gender and the role it plays in our society. The article discussed... Yeah, it's 2 pages. It's like a 4th grader, straight up. The article discussed peers using teasing as a way to enforce gender norms. I do not necessarily see this as a problem. God made male and female and made us differently from each other on purpose and for a purpose. God is very intentional with what he makes, and I believe trying to change the world would only do more harm. Gender roles and tendencies should not be considered stereotypes. Women naturally want to do womanly things because God created us with those womanly desires in our hearts. The same goes for men. God created men in the image of his courage and strength, and he created women in the image of his beauty. He intentionally created women differently than men, and we should live our lives with that in mind. I mean, what are we doing? What are we doing? You can't even fail an illiterate person in your class? Really? Without this becoming, why is her accent always Southern? I don't know. Maybe because she's Southern. You heard her speak. What do you mean?
Are dealing with something similar to push back against that kind of behavior. I would.
She's from Missouri. Missouri. Bro, what is wrong with you? This is Shakespeare. I know, this is the most goated article I've ever read in my entire life. It is frustrating to me when I read articles like this and discussion posts from my classmates of so many people trying to conform to the same mundane opinion so they do not step on people's toes. I think that is cowardly and insincere way to live. That is a cowardly and insincere way to live. It is important to use freedom of speech we have been given in this country, and I personally believe that eliminating gender in our society would be detrimental as it pulls us farther from God's original plan for humans. It is perfectly normal for kids to follow gender stereotypes because that is how God made us. The reason so many girls want to feel womanly and care for others in a motherly way is not because they feel pressured to fit into societal norms. It is because God created and chose them to reflect his beauty and his compassion in a way. Okay. I can't even get through it. She's not even sourcing the Bible, dude. And TPUSA did a protest for her. They were like, no, you write this dog shit essay, you deserve an A. In Genesis, God says that it is not good for man to be alone. So he created a helper for a man, which is a woman. Okay, I was wrong. She did quote the Bible. Just Genesis. Okay? This is like when Trump says, hey, what's your favorite passage in the Bible? And he says, I can't choose all of them. All of them. The entire Bible. I like the Bible in its entirety. Did she cite the Bible as a source, or is it a trust me, bro? No, it's a trust me, bro. There is no citing of the Bible. Many people assume the word helper in this context to be condescending and offensive to women. However, the original word in Hebrew is ezer kenegdo, and that directly translates to helper equal to. Additionally, God described himself in the Bible as using ezer kenegdo or helper. He describes his Holy Spirit as our helper as well. This shows the importance God places on the role of the helper, women's roles. God does not view women as less significant than men. He created us with such intentionality and care. Oh my God, she just keeps repeating the same point over and over again, which is not even a point at all. It's just vibes. He made women in his image of being a helper and in the image of his beauty. If leaning into that role means I am following gender stereotypes, then I'm happy to be following a stereotype that aligns with the gifts and abilities God gave me as a woman. I do not think men and women are pressured to be more masculine or feminine. I strongly disagree with the idea from the article that encouraging acceptance of diverse gender expressions could improve students' confidence. Society pushing the lie that there are multiple genders. There are no multiple genders. There's only one gender. That's it. No more multiple genders. One gender only, man. I go back and forth on whether or not this was an op and she like purposely wrote this as dog shit as possible so that she could get support for being quote unquote canceled. But then again, I think she's just so dumb. I think she is so stupid that she wrote it like this as a stupid person. Another professor was put on leave. Look at the TPUSA OUIG. Yes. Also, her professor is trans. So when her professor actually failed her on this, everybody went, oh, it's because she's woke. Her mom is a January 6th lawyer, and this is her opportunity to kickstart her political career. And here we are. Anyway, society pushing the lie that there are multiple genders and everyone should be whatever they want is to be demonic and severely harms American youth. I do not want kids to be teased or bullied in school. However, pushing the lie that everyone has their own truth and everyone can do whatever they want and be whoever they want is not biblical whatsoever. Yes, the Bible says you do not have dreams that you can pursue. If you are a woman, you must be relegated to the title of helper. They broadcast, wait, it wasn't the professor, if I recall correctly, it was the graduate TA. The TA who graded her paper was the one put on leave. Oh. Anyway, let's finish this and then we'll read the statement from Oklahoma University. The Bible says that our lives are not our own, but that our lives and bodies belong to the Lord for his glory. I live my life based on this truth and firmly believe that there would be less gender issues and insecurities in children if they were raised knowing that they do not belong to themselves, but they belong to the Lord. Overall, reading articles such as this one encouraged me to one day raise my children knowing that they have a heavenly Father who loves them and cherishes them deeply, and having their identity firmly rooted in who he is will give them the satisfaction and acceptance that the world can never provide for them. My prayer for the world, and specifically for American society and youth, is that they would not believe the lies being spread from Satan and make them believe they're better off as another gender than what God made them. I pray that they feel God's love and acceptance as who he originally created them to be. Now, there's a second professor who was put on leave for giving excused absences for protests, but not to a student who wanted to counter-protest, which was apparently the Oklahoma University TPUSA president. Yeah, I think that they just set this up on purpose. She wrote this dog shit essay specifically because she knew that she would get punished for it. She'd fail, and so that they could immediately kickstart this like victimhood narrative. It's the classic anti-woke equation. And in the process, they suspended the trans teacher's assistant. Watch, protests underway at Oklahoma University of Oklahoma rallying in support of the instructor who was put on leave after giving a student 0 on a psychology paper. Wokeness will come back in a way no one is ready for. They got 1 year of anti-woke culture, and they're seeing it as cancerous. Two pages felt like Moby Dick. Anyway, here's a statement from the University of Oklahoma. On Wednesday, a lecturer allegedly demonstrated viewpoint discrimination by excusing students who intended to miss class to attend a protest on campus, but not extending the same benefit to students who intended to miss class to express a counter viewpoint. Immediately upon learning of the situation, director of first-year composition told students in class today and by email that the lecturer's actions were inappropriate and wrong, and that the university classroom exists to teach students how to think, not what to think. The director further stated that any student, regardless of viewpoint, would be excused if absent from class today to attend the protest without penalty, and that the lecturer had been replaced effective immediately for the remainder of the semester. The University of Oklahoma unequivocally supports the decision and swift action taken by the director of first-year composition regarding this matter. Her actions are fully consistent with university policy governing prohibited classroom conduct, and the lecturer has been placed on administrative leave pending an investigation. Classroom instructors have a special obligation to ensure that the classroom is never used to grant preferential treatment based on personal political beliefs, nor to pressure students to adopt a particular political or ideological view. It's unfair to say it deserves a 0. It deserves at least 17 to 23%. Look at how much it legit sparked debate. What? I mean, you're memeing. I get it. But that's perfectly valid. There were clear criteria for grading 0. It was appropriate. You must write 6. This assignment. Okay, let's look at what the confines of the assignment were, okay? This assignment was locked November 9th at 11. You must write 650 words, double space, reaction paper demonstrating that you read the assigned article and include a thoughtful reaction to material presented in the article. Points will be deducted when papers are deficient in any of those areas. I will deduct 10 points if your papers between 620 and 649 words, and I will not give credit for papers under 620 words. Papers not turned in by deadline will not receive credit. Please remember that your reaction paper should not be a summary, but rather a thoughtful discussion of some aspects of the article. Possible approaches to reaction papers include a discussion of why you feel the topic is important and worthy of study, or not, an application of the study or results to your own experiences, an application of the study or results of observations about other behaviors, linking the objectives or findings from the assigned article to other domains of development or other findings that we read about or discuss in chat. Grading requirements, reaction papers graded on a 25-point scale. Does the paper show a clear tie into the assigned article? 10 points. Does the paper represent a thoughtful reaction or response to the article rather than a summary? 10 points. Is the paper clearly written? 5 points. Here are some of the instructor's comments. Where is the comments? Oh, please note that I'm not deducting points because you have certain beliefs, but instead I'm deducting points for you posting a reaction paper that does not answer the questions for this assignment, contradicts itself, heavily uses personal ideology over empirical evidence in a scientific class, and is at times offensive. While you are entitled to your own personal beliefs, there's an appropriate time or place to implement them in your reflections. I encourage all students to question or challenge the course material with other empirical findings or testable hypotheses, but using your own personal beliefs to argue against the findings of not only this article, but the findings of countless articles across psychology, biology, sociology, etc., is not the best practice. You argue that abiding by normative gender roles is beneficial. It is perfectly fine to believe this. But then to say that everyone should act the same while also saying that people aren't pressured into gendered expectations is contradictory, especially since your arguments reflect the religious pressure to act in gender stereotypical ways. You can say that strict gender norms don't create gender stereotypes, but that isn't true by definition of what a stereotype is. Please note that acknowledging gender stereotypes does not immediately denote a negative connotation, a nuance this article discusses. Additionally, to call an entire group of people demonic is highly offensive, especially a minoritized population. You are entitled to your own beliefs, but this isn't a vague narrative of society pushes lies, but instead the result of countless years of developing psychological and scientific evidence for these claims and directly interacting with the communities involved. Yeah, it's like you read a paper, or you don't actually read the paper necessarily, but you just go, yeah, trans people are demonic, and then you get an F for it, and you go, oh, well, I am being fired for the truth. I'm being attacked for the truth. No, you didn't do anything. You didn't do any of the job. Like, I made this argument. I made an argument similar to this one the first day that this, this became a point of controversy, where it was like, it's like having a religious person go into class on the theory of evolution and be like, evolution is fake because God told me. And if you believe in evolution, you are a phony. And then demanding an A on that paper, you know? Yeah, I was a psych TA that had to grade papers like this. These ones where they had to read an article, do a couple page essay, they were always this criteria to follow, and that's most likely why she got a legit 0, because it was that dog shit. The way she wrote the essay would be shot down by literally any professor if she talked about anything else too. She would have had to defend her opinion through solid facts. This is bare minimum to get through university. How is this being questioned? How is this being questioned? Everyone is stupid. Everyone is stupid, and it's much easier to draw up battle lines on ideological points of view than it is to think critically. Okay, that's it. Many people will not read the paper. Even less will actually see her comments and why she graded it the way that she did. And the overwhelming majority will go, oh, they fired her because, or they failed her because gender. They failed her because woke. Especially when they find out that the TA is trans. Yeah, someone is saying that at least it wasn't ChatGPT. True. And we know it wasn't ChatGPT because even ChatGPT wouldn't write an essay so stupid. I don't think. Anyway, you're entitled to your own beliefs, but this isn't a vague narrative of society pushes lies, but instead the result of countless years of developing psychological and scientific evidence for these claims and directly interacting with the communities involved. You may personally disagree with this, but that doesn't change the fact that every major psychological, medical, pediatric, and psychiatric association in the United States acknowledges that biologically and physiologically, sex and gender is neither binary nor fixed. I implore you to apply more. Yeah, that's the other side of the story. It's like, if you're taking a course, you can't get away with saying like, no, gender is a rigid binary. You just can't do that because you're in college. Okay, I'm sorry. I know that television doesn't tell you that that is appropriate, or television tells you that your feelings are valid, but that shit's not valid in a actual course. You can't do that. You're not a child. You're in college. You have to literally learn the source material. The irony is, she didn't even say it was a binary. She said that it was singular. Gender is singular. She said there's no such thing as multiple genders. She said there's only one gender, which is even dumber. Somehow she's dumber than the only two genders libtard take, because she said only one gender. Anyway, college isn't also about learning. College is more about learning critical thinking than it is about learning things in general, okay? Like, a big chunk of college is about learning how to read and how to cite sources and think critically, okay? That's the most significant training that you get when you go to college. Go get dressed. I'll dress when you pull up here. It's going to take a second for me to get dressed. Conservatives think professors like Kevin Sorbo and God is not real. You know that one? I just hate that, like, I just hate how stupid we are as a society. I'm going to be late. Wait, what? Why? Get your ass over here. I want to be the first to tell you that you're going to be late. Okay, well, Austin said it before you, so you failed on that front. I'm ready, just waiting for Christian to get dressed. Don't blame Christian for this. If you personally disagree with the findings, then by all means share your criticism, but make sure to do so in a way that is appropriate and using the methodology of empirical psychology as aligned with the learning goals in this class. If you have any additional questions or concerns about this, or would like some additional educational resources, I'd be happy to discuss this further and provide you with them. Samantha, I am the other instructor for this course, and I've taken the time to read your paper. I concur with Mel on the grade you received. This paper should not be considered as a completion of the assignment. Everyone has different ways in which she got double by both of the instructors. She got double tapped. They went in on her. This paper should not be considered a completion of the assignment. Everyone has different ways in which they see the world, but in an academic course such as this one, you're being asked to support your ideas with empirical evidence and higher level reasoning. I find it concerning that you state at the beginning of your paper that you do not think bullying, teasing is a bad thing. In addition, your paper directly and harshly criticizes your peers and their opinions, which are just as valuable as yours. Yeah, she's like, bullying, I do not agree with bullying. Also, everyone who believes that there are multiple genders, as in even two, are demonic and spawns of Satan. Yeah, the university turned around and suspended the trans TA, by the way, which is crazy. No, Hassan, you can't be late to the awards. I have a huge play on Kalshi on you showing up on time. No. Well, L for you then. Will you stream at the Streamer Awards? No. Genuine question, does this have any juice regardless if we're getting on Fox News or not? Because it does feel weak and I feel like no one will care. This is an even shittier version of Riley Gaines. Wait, is there actually... I can't tell if there are actual bets on Kalshi or if you guys are memeing or not. You're up my Kalshi parlay? I'm too scared to find out. Yeah, I don't even want to look. Please employ more thoughtfulness in your future assignments. What are professors supposed to do? Get every faculty member to approve giving a 0 from now on? Yeah, if you want to give a 0 to your student, they can't be a right-wing reactionary. And also, you can't be trans while in the process of giving a 0 to your student. Those are the new rules now. Okay? Ugh.